Nine Sisters, Freemasons, who wrote this amazing book, Le Monde Primitif comparé avec le Monde Moderne, and he went into all ancient wisdom and how does that stack up against modern science. The Lodge of the Nine Sisters included a lot of modern scientists like Joseph Priestley, Lavoisier, mathematicians, geometers, astronomers. Lalande was a member, but so was Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin, who helped discover electricity. But he also believed, Antoine Comte de Gebelin was his name, in the ancient wisdom and the Druid wisdom and the wisdom of Gaul and the wisdom of Egypt. And in his book he has a whole section which I've read of, he goes with the Egyptian theory that tarot was born in the occult knowledge of Alexandria and the ancient wisdom of the mystery schools, and it was a way of pictorially representing all that. So the devil stands for destructive patterns, addiction, giving away your power. There's a psychological interpretation, temptation. I mean, the devil appears to Jesus and tempts him with egotistical desire to control and take over power. It's interesting. And in the Gnostic tradition, devils are regarded as souls or spiritual beings that are still learning. They're not evil in themselves, but they're not in their full righteousness and power of truth. And in the books of Enoch, which are very important, which Jesus knew, the first book of Enoch, and the second, Enoch is taken to heaven in a UFO spaceship type thing by an archangel, and on the way he hears and meets Shemjaza, who led the diabolic descent onto the planet Earth, and is the backstory to the Garden of Eden. So the devil that appears in Genesis, in the Garden of Eden story, had fallen to Earth, and the Book of Enoch explains what had happened. The plot narrative seems to be that this was a very advanced angelic being who kind of wanted this planet to break away from God and become an autonomous, independent sort of kingdom which he could rule, and he wanted human beings to become his servants and his agents, if you want. But God had other plans, and that's basically the Judeo-Christian Islamic take on the devil, is that he took a stand against the possibility of true gnosis for humans. What the devil wanted was us to become aggrandized, powerful, rich, to misuse our knowledge, to be kind of Jacob Epstein type figures, or sort of Elon Musk type figures, using technological knowledge to amass personal power, wealth, and God, I can fly to the moon, I can invent spaceships that will colonize Mars, I can, that Musk type thing is a diabolic temptation. Whereas what the consensus of the wisdom brotherhoods is that we should tone down that, because we all have that ability to self-aggrandize, but we have to moderate it to work with the community, with the poor, with the homeless, with the new family that's just arrived from Anglesey or whatever. We have to reach out in love and compassion, and that's why Christ did his work and resisted this devilish interpretation of events. Herod is a diabolic figure in the New Testament, and he appears in the beginning of the Gospels out to destroy Jesus. He was a diabolic, power-crazy guy who used violence and torture and cruelty and murder to to have his way and have his whim over everyone and everything he could. Now that's when human beings turn wrong. We become like Herod, and we should be turning the other way so that we become moulded after the image of Christ or Muhammad or the gentle teachers of humanity. But unfortunately, the Herods are still very powerful. So the Gnostic, some branches of Gnosticism said, Marnie was among them, that this world has fallen so far behind where we ought to be as a planet. It's become the home for all the devils of the universe. They're all colonized it. And there's no hope for humanity now. They run the show, and they organise all the wars and constantly. And so the most we can do is actually just escape from here. You can't. There's no point sticking around trying to educate these devils. They're impervious to it. They don't care. They'll just crush you and kill you. And so what Marnie said is, so the righteous souls should transmigrate off this planet, which is set for destruction, and the whole thing is going to go down. And you shouldn't be here when that happens. And there are some Gnostic sects around now that still teach that, like, well, I don't personally go down that route. I think we can still save this planet, and that I don't think humans are so impervious to wisdom as that narrative says. I think that I've taught some pretty devilish people in my time, and normally you can win them round. I've never met anyone that's so evil that you can't actually have a conversation and get them chuckling and realising the stupidity of evil. Evil is just really stupid, in my opinion. And in fact, if you take the D off the name devil, what does it spell? Evil, right? It's evil. And as a Platonist, I would say evil comes from ignorance. Always. Even at the level of spirit beings. Spirit beings that are causing mayhem and trouble are ignorant. And that's why they're being evil. So the answer has to be a holistic, joined up, universal, comprehensive enlightenment for everyone at whatever level of being, including spirit beings, human beings, at all levels of education. And so that all comes back down to knowledge, hence being a knowledge. We have to work out what kind of knowledge we can get to counter this level of evil. Well, I think that's the job, and I think that's why these two cards have come in. The Creator is having some trouble. I think we can all agree with that. The women particularly are feeling burned. The women are the ones that suffer in these wars. Okay, so what we've got to do is convert the devil into a helper, an assistant. And that's the genius of Padmasambhava, the great Tibetan Buddhist teacher who inspired my lineage of Vajrayana Buddhism, which is Padmasambhava worked with the Bon gods and converted them from being demons into becoming protectors of the Dharma. And I believe that we can do that with all the devils. They want to help, but they want to do it on their terms, and they don't want to be dumbed down. These are clever, these devils. So we have to convert them to use their cleverness for the good, and get them to join the Brotherhood of Light. Anyway, that's the work we're doing here in the Philosophy Club in a nutshell. And all the philosophy clubs all over the world. That's what philosophy is about. Is working with, the human as we actually are, and then trying to sublimate us into becoming enlightened. It's the same eternal story. I think we should reopen the mystery centres of Eleusis and elsewhere. That would help. And the Delphic games, the Delphic Oracle. That's why I'm working with that. And in the 99 Names of Peace, I've given 99 projects that I think would help advance the Brotherhood and Sisterhood of Light. So anyway, that's my take on it. Yeah, what do you reckon, Amal?
I have a question. You spoke at the beginning about the tarot origins,
Yeah,
and you just mentioned as a conclusion the word oracle. And in my comprehension, tarot in the French tradition was very often used to analyze nowadays situation. For example, you pick one or two cards,
sure.
and also for future, what is coming.
Mm.
I-
It is a sort of oracle, yeah. Because of course all the oracular centres have been shut by order of the Byzantine Church and the corrupt emperors. So they had to find a way to get this wisdom out, and that's why I think they created the tarot. And yeah, you can use the Tarot of the Gods in that way, although I tend to do it more systemically on global affairs rather than, I mean, one can do readings one-to-one.
Yeah, but what's interesting is that you integrated it in your philosophy club.
Yeah,
Each week, taking 2 or 3 cards
yeah.
and just do the comment.
Yeah, we see how it affects, I mean, all of the planet is interconnected. We know there are energy currents swirling through the air, constantly connecting everything up. And as we've been having this particular meeting of the Philosophy Club, our planet has moved thousands of miles in relation to absolute space. So I'm just trying to sort of decipher and navigate these currents in the noosphere and see what they point to. And I think this is an archetypal struggle going on. And I think philosophy can shed some light on this. Anyway, I do explain it in the text about, I've just summarised a bit here, but if anyone wants to go into it in detail, devils can be secularised and given new names such as nationalism, Zionism, extremism, patriarchy, capitalism, racism, terrorism, colonialism, etc., etc. These are useful to buttress or challenge entrenched power hierarchies, and thus may have a sociological explanation. Foucault, a great French intellectual, talked about the archaeology of knowledge. A lot of what we're talking about here is lost knowledge. What we're trying to do with the Tarot of the Gods is archaeology. And I wanted to be an archaeologist when I was young. I mean, I am an archaeologist of knowledge in that Foucault tradition. And I think by doing that, we can repair and heal the clashing narratives of our epoch. And I've said that one of the projects I've done in the 99 Names of Peace is the Society for the Study of Happy Endings. I'm convinced as a literary scholar, poet, author, novelist, we need to focus more on happy endings. And there isn't a society that studies why us comedies have happy endings, tragedies have tragic endings. I want history to have happy endings more, you see.
Yeah, but it's not so disruptive because the happy endings takes more value as there is in the middle of the story a peak of problems.
Yeah. Quite. Yeah, no, you need your problems to work through, and you need the crisis and the misidentifications but then like in a good Shakespeare comedy, it all works out in the end, and everyone marries the right person when they see through the disguise, I'm a believer, an old romantic in that. Yeah. Voila.
I know you like new words.
Okay.
I just found one.
Okay.
Thanks to the devil.
Ah.
I think it could be agreed by the devil.
Okay.
It's a bureaucraticism.
Yeah, sure. No, that's been studied by sociologists a lot. But I'm going to write that down because that is a good word. Yes. bureaucratism. Yeah. Yes. Thank you for that. Okay, I'm going to finish with a poem because I talked about poetry and literature, and I think we should just end on that note because it's been a hell of a year. This is a poem I wrote in 1995 when I was visiting India in the Punjab, and I was visiting with some friends. I went to Dharamsala, the Buddhist centre where the Dalai Lama was, and I also went to the Punjab to meet a Sikh guru, Satguru he's called. And I found the Sikhs incredibly welcoming, and their scripture, the Guru Granth Sahib, is full of magical stuff, and if I had enough hours in the day I'd do a commentary on it as well, but I'll leave that to someone else because it's really long. Anyway, I wrote this poem. It was Christmas morning in the Punjab. I wrote it on Christmas Day. And I was staying with a family of Sikhs I'd never met before, but they were so welcoming, fed me, everything. You welcomed me into your warm home on Christmas Eve. We sat and discussed the mysteries of past and future times, while the children played and the older, wise ones shared their stories. You answered all my questions patiently, and your kind wives prepared a feast of mercy fit for kings and friends. In the night's long watch for Christmas, we dreamed and prayed and slept in snatches. Our spirits coiled like clouds around a swift moon, ever vanishing yet constant. Satguru was to come in the small, still hours to bless your house, like the Christmas Father bringing the great present of grace, priceless, beyond all possessiveness. Awakening on Christmas morning, I find myself surrounded by the scattered presence of being. Everything miraculous. Counterpanes, chairs, shoes, blankets, curtains, with the pale light of dawn seeping in slowly, like a white velvet prayer kiss. Thank you to the blessed gurus of long lineage, and to the messiahs of patience and true love. May we learn all their teachings and remember them in every thought and feeling. May all your names of glory, all your paths, lead surely to the sacred morning of pure light and the one true awakening. Wherever the path leads us from here, may it always lead us there, to the land of presence, to the great unity of the divine spaciousness. And through your strong, strange grace, regather us hence as children on that final morning.